Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Ali Moreno. Barcelona, of course, there are a number of teams here in the States on pre-season duty at the moment. And what interesting season it is looking ahead to the start of their campaign, considering all the factors that are looking to affect the La Liga side. Don't forget last season, Xavi quit, then he stayed, then he got sacked. In the end, they finished second and they 10 points behind Real Madrid. Not good against PSG. They brought in Hansi Flick then as the new coach. They've been linked to Nico Williams. That has gone very quiet. Dani Olmo, though, looks like that might be done. We'll be discussing that in a moment. But first, Sebastian Salazar sat down with Robert Lewandowski.
Robert, great to have you with us here on ESPN. How do you feel right now physically, and maybe how would you compare it to how you felt last year? Especially, I feel like in the beginning of last year, you were dealing with some problems.
When you compare when I feel now and the last years, I'm feeling now better than last year for sure. Physically,
really?
Yeah.
Even though you're older?
Even I am older, and I don't see the difference yet. Maybe last season, the last year was for me physically more difficult, yeah, because I know that what I did wrong, what I could do better, or what I missed. And with this preseason and this season, I can do this better for sure. And the physical things, I don't see the difference between now and 3 years ago, for example. Yeah, so it's mean still I can do my job. Still I can do scoring a lot of goals. But yeah, this is what the good things that I feel better than in the same time last year.
You mentioned what you did wrong or what you missed. What did you miss a year ago?
You know, some exercise, some in the preseason, what I did, what I didn't do. So this kind of things, I know that what I should to do, that I'm during the season, I can feel better, you know, physically. If the conditional is better, then all things is easier to do. Because if physically you feel bad or you feel like miss some, I don't know, 10-20%, then the head starting working less, then your body, the decision, the self-confidence, everything's going in one way, but the bad way. So now I'm trying that every of these details going in the good way, even better than last year.
If we think about kind of physically being healthy, there's also a huge demand on you guys as footballers. I mean, you're just coming off the European Championships. It seems like there's just a ton of games. How much is that affecting you, and do you think it's something that's sustainable for guys like yourself who are playing, you know, potentially like 50, 60 games a year with club, and then all of the international responsibilities as well?
Yeah, and especially this season is going to be more tough than before because we have more games in Champions League. Also, yeah, for sure, we not only the games in the club, but also national team, a lot of traveling or travel that we travel a lot. That that will be a huge challenge for every club, for every players as well, because you know, the expectations always are very high, and it's like you're playing every 3 days, and people expect that you play every games like on the higher level. But also, like, the generation is changing, and you cannot compare the young people with the new generation like the generation 10 or 15 years ago. Because of the world changing all the time, the football changing, and we have more games, and the expectations are more higher than before, and it's almost impossible to staying on the top or playing on the top every games, because you know you don't have time for regeneration. Well, you don't have time to, you know, sometimes to be outside the football, the mind like reset to be fresh. So from one side it's challenge for us, from the second side, okay, like we are in the end a human, we are not the machine. Of course we try to be the machine, but only on the pitch, but we cannot forget that we are the human, and also we need the time for the rest, and probably in the end the quality of the games or the football that a little bit can going down because of the intensity of the games that we have more and more during the whole season.
This season, obviously, big change in the managerial position. Hansi Flick, a guy you know well, you've had success with. I know it's very early days, but what differences are you noticing here?
It's always like the new coach coming. It's like the new idea, the new training session as well. And I don't want to compare each of the coach, because every coach has different way. The direction to how to prepare it for the season, how we want to playing during this season. But what was it? Okay, that is like the past. Now we are focused on what's going now and for the future. So what can I say? Something new is coming, and we know that we have to working hard, much more harder than in the past, because all this only way if you want to win something.
Champions League, you won it with Hansi Flick. Do those memories kind of inspire you to know that maybe this can be done again here?
Of course, you have some kind of hopeful that the ways can be also the successful like we were together in the Bayern Munich, for example. But of course, you cannot compare one-to-one like the moments, like the time, the club, the place. Of course, that we have a lot of we have amazing club. We have a lot of potential in this club. But of course, what the most important thing is to keep the players healthy. We have some injuries, but I hope so that the players that are injured that come back soon, and we're gonna be more stronger with all together. But if you're playing as a team, we can achieve our goals, and I hope so that with these positive things we can going forward to this season and trying to give our best.
There was a lot said last year about your relationship with the manager. What do you want people to know about your relationship with Xavi?
He did great job. We know that for him wasn't easy, because emotionally he was very, very close with the club, with the people, and sometimes more difficult to be the coach of FC Barcelona if you are so close with the club, with the people since years, And he did a great job, even that the last moments wasn't perfectly for him, for us. But in the tough moment that he came to this club and what he changed was amazing, and I learned a lot also. And I'm very proud that I could be the players under Xavi this time.
Do you feel like the team needs some help in attack? Would you like to see some more guys come in the door?
Yeah, of course, that the clubs also knows that we need some new players, because some players left from the last season our club. So long we don't have fix the squad for the new season. We cannot thinking that we are fix the team. If the club say we are now with this player what we have, and it's the end with the end of the transfer, then we say okay, we have to try to do and to do the best what we have. But I know that the club they were working very hard to bring some new players, because they knew that the cadre, the squad what we have is not yet ready.
And of course, the big challenge, Real Madrid, they bring in Kylian Mbappe. How difficult is it going to be for you guys to compete with that squad that already won the league and now has one of the best players in the world?
Of course, he's an amazing player. Also, Real Madrid is an amazing club, and they're playing very well. But I think also they have problems. It's not our case. We are more focused what we want to do, how we want to do, what we should do, how we want to play. We are more focused of ourselves, what we have inside, what we can do as a team, and they have also their own problems with as always with the new players, with the system. But for us, it's not important. We want to be focused of our things, and everything what we have inside. This is the most important for us now.
Hey, great talker, Robert Lewandowski. Exactly what you want from an interview. Some interesting points there. In particular, what stood out for you, Ali?
Well, a couple of things. In the last answer, he's talking about, Real Madrid is going to have their own problems. Well, frankly, if I'm a player, I'd rather have the problems that Real Madrid has instead of the problems that Barcelona has.
What else is he going to say?
I'm just saying, if Real Madrid has problems, then I think Barcelona has even more problems. Regardless, I'll go back to the initial answers, in which he was talking about him feeling better now than what he did at this same time last season. It sounds to me like a player who's trying to convince himself that physically he's not done. That physically he can still compete, that physically he can still run, he can still get himself in scoring positions. No longer has the ability to get in behind and to threaten in behind. So what happened in that particular sequence is first touch wasn't good enough, second touch was even worse. It allowed the defender from Manchester City to close down the space. I think it was Callum Doyle. I'm sure that he's really interested in knowing that he's going to participate in the show today. In any case, Callum Doyle comes across, and now the opportunity gone. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because it changes the way that Robert Lewandowski now plays the game. Rarely do you see him coming to the ball, spinning out, and trying to get him behind. He's now becoming a player that continues to come closer and closer and closer and closer to the ball, which means that he's further and further and further away from goal, which is where he's most dangerous. If I'm Robert Lewandowski and I'm trying to figure out how I remain productive for Barcelona, it's going to be inside the 18-yard box. It's not going to be coming to the ball.
Frank, for you, what stood out from this interview?
Well, you know, I will follow Ali on the first answer when he talked about the fact that the game is becoming physically harder, more demanding, that they don't have holidays. I love that new generation of people who think that it's harder now than before, that before it was much easier. I played at Chelsea between 96 and 2001. I had 15 days holidays per year because we had to play during winter, because I had international duties during the summer and no holidays. We didn't have the VAR. The defenders, everybody was much harder than they are now. It's much easier than it was at the time, and I'm talking 30 years from now. So I'm, with all due respect, and I'm with Ali, I think the guys is warning everybody that he might have some excuse on his future games, and it might not be the Lewandowski that we all have known before, and that's not for the best, you know. And when you try to find excuses, it's because you are touching maybe the end of it.
What I thought was interesting as well was what he had to say about Xavi being almost too close to the fans, to the club, in the fact that we saw that take its toll very much, obviously, when we had that press conference, said that he's going to leave. It was just too much for him. So his suggestion, Lewandowski's, was that Hansi Flick coming from the outside is actually a good thing.
Yeah, and I think what he's referring to with Xavi is the emotional attachment to the club, and the emotional attachment that doesn't allow you to make objective decisions because you're trying to be a friend to everybody in the club. You're trying to be a friend to the history of the club. You're trying to appease everybody, including the media, and that was never going to work. Now, full disclosure, Barcelona didn't exactly handle this situation all that well. And when I say all that well, it was terrible. Because Xavi says he's leaving and Barcelona then says, no, but he's coming back. He's our guy for the future. Xavi's Barcelona through and through. And oh, by the way, now he's gone. Yeah. Right? And so if you have the club handling this situation that way, imagine what the players are thinking inside that locker room. And you start seeing that respect and appreciation and emotional connection for Xavi, it's eroding right in front of your eyes. It's happening right in front of your eyes as a player. And so I think his point is a larger picture sort of point in which he's saying, yeah, this guy's coming in and he's going to have his own ideas. And he's going to make objective decisions that not necessarily have to please everybody because he has no connection to Barcelona. And if indeed that's the case, you would assume that Hansi Flick coming in with a clean slate, making objective decisions, you assume that they would be better decisions. But that is not a guarantee. That is again, that's a player who in preseason is saying, I hope this works out because this is the manager that we now have in place. And so therefore, hopefully, this guy coming in and not having this emotional connection is actually going to work out for us. He's just looking at it from the perspective of players, that this manager works out.